the weather's right. Time to plant those tomatoes that we all love in our summertime garden. So we start out using the auger on the cordless drill. That's what we drill all the holes with. Then we'll take and put bone meal, blood meal, and some compost into it. It has been proven to me by when we started gardening here in this poor soil how wood chips will transform it. But adding the blood meal and the bone meal has definitely improved the health of the tomatoes. Now you'll see here as we're putting the tomato in the hole, it's not as deep as I normally plant them. A lot of times I like to plant them at least a foot deep because everywhere that tomato touches the ground, it will grow roots. But here we got a hard pan underneath this part of the garden and we can't go as deep as we'd like to. Now any of the lower leaves, I will pinch them off. And then I take this is just baling twine, and I will gently tie it around the tomato. I don't get it tight because as the tomato grows, it needs room. Just like that. See if that'll give you a little better look. It's just gently tied around the stalk of the tomato. Then I just slowly just wrap it around the tomato. And as it grows, I will continue to do this same thing. So what I have is a cable or high tension wire strung from 5 posts down through here, and it's pulled tight. And I will bring the string around the top, put a little tension on it, and I will come around twice, and then I will use a half loop and pull that tight. So if I ever need to tighten this up, I can just gently pull this and I don't have to cut a knot. And that's what it looks like when it's done, all the way up to the wire. Now we'll come back and add a mulch, which I use wood chips. I will put a thick layer of wood chips around it because it helps with weeds growing and it helps hold in moisture. So now all we got to do is we're probably going to plant 10 to 12 today, and then we'll just succession plant the rest of them. Now here I'm just going through, got all the holes dug, going back and dropping blood meal, bone meal, and a little bit of compost in the bottom of each hole. Then we get ready to go through and put all the tomatoes in. Now, one thing you'll notice is these tomatoes are very tall. I started them about 2 weeks early in the greenhouse, so they're a lot further along than the rest. Normally, I do not like them to be this tall before they go in the garden, but they'll do just fine and produce plenty of tomatoes. And we never had any trouble with them being this tall. Normally, you'd want them a little bit smaller if you're selling them out of the greenhouse, but for what we do with them, they do just fine. Now here, once they're all planted, all we're doing is going back and putting the baling twine, the string around them, and get them all tied up so they're supported. Now, one thing that I do with my tomatoes is I always add marigolds and basil. Marigold's supposed to help keep aphids off, but last year I didn't have an aphid problem one on my tomatoes or anywhere in this garden. There was basil. Now, I don't know if there's been any studies on basil. It's supposed to keep gnats and different types of flies and caterpillars away, but this was every fourth tomato had a basil. Last year I did not have an aphid problem in this garden, so you may want to give it a try. Once everything's planted, I go back and add wood chips to everything. Helps as a weed blocker. Wood chips also help hold moisture. And this is our third year of doing wood chip gardening. And when you seen as I was using the auger coming down, you seen the difference in the soil. Because everything that I'm standing on here is modeling clay and it won't grow anything. So adding the compost and then the wood chips breaking down over the years has definitely transformed this soil. And I could tell a big difference last year on how everything grew. So that's going to be my next step of getting these completely finished. So once I get them all planted, I will come back and add a fresh layer of wood chips. That's what it looks like when it's done. Now the last thing that you would do, make sure you water everything in. And the hotter it gets and the drier it gets, I usually pour water in the hole. But we've had about 3.5 inches of rain the last couple of days, so, and I watered everything real good in the pots before I put them in, so they're good to go. All right, guys, there's a lot of different ways to grow tomatoes. You can grow them in buckets and big tubs, grow bags. You can put them in cages. You can do a Florida weave. It's all kind of different ways, but that's how I've always done it. Works good for us. So if you want to grow tomatoes, just find a way and grow it. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. It's always a fun time to start getting them tomatoes in the garden, because we're going to be wide open the next couple of weeks getting everything planted in the garden, because down here in North Alabama, it's wide open. We're past our frost date. Weather looks good. So we're going to be getting anything and everything that we want this garden in. Now on the tomatoes, you'll notice those are a little larger. I started them a little bit early, which is fine for me. So about every week and a half to 2 weeks, we will continue putting tomatoes in because we have them in different ages so that we can make sure we grow them all the way into November. So, hey, give it a try. Get out and grow something. So, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed it. And as always, if you grow it, you know it.